If I asked you right now to introduce yourself, but you weren't allowed to mention your business or your title or how much money you made, what would you actually say? A lot of the men that I start working with go completely blank. They don't know how to answer because over the last 5, 10, or 15 years, the man that they used to be has been completely swallowed up by the business that they built. In episode 1, we talked about the rat trap, how your business became a prison. Now in episode 2 here, we're going to talk about why you can't escape that prison. And the reason is simple. You forgot who you are. Welcome back to the rat trap series. When you first start out in business, you have to be obsessed. You have to wear every hat, fight every fire, and think about the company 24/7 just to get off the ground. That is normal. But what happens to a lot of men is that they never transition out of that phase. The business grows, but the mindset doesn't. And eventually a dangerous psychological shift happens. Psychologists call it enmeshment. It's when the boundary between you and your business completely disappears. When you are enmeshed, a bad day in the business isn't just a bad day at work. It feels like a personal failure. If a client leaves, you feel rejected. If revenue falls, your self-worth drops. Your entire emotional state is tethered to the daily roller coaster of running a business. And because your identity is tied to the business, you can never truly switch off. This is why you're checking emails under the dinner table when you should be present with your family. It's why you are physically present with your kids on a Saturday and Sunday, but mentally you are a million miles away from being in that room, stressing about cash flow or staff issues or things that never got done. Because if you stop thinking about the business, you feel anxious. You feel like you're dropping the ball. You feel like you're losing your edge. And the tragic result is the people that you love, the people that you supposedly built this empire for, end up getting the leftovers of you. They get the exhausted, irritable, distracted version of you at the end of the day. They get the shell of the man that has put 100% of his energy into his staff and into his business and has nothing left in the tank for his wife and his kids. This is the reality of the rat trap. You win in business, but you lose at home. How do you break the enmeshment? How do we separate the man from the machine? It starts with a conscious decision to separate your identity outside of your revenue. You have to start seeing the business as not who you are, but as the vehicle that funds the life that you actually want. A vehicle has a very specific purpose. You drive it to get from point A to point B, but you don't live in that vehicle. You don't let the vehicle dictate your whole personality. You need to experience what it's like to win outside of that company. You need to get back into the gym and start pushing yourself physically. You need to invest in your relationship with your wife, not as a business partner or a roommate, but as a husband. You need to find a hobby or a passion or a mission that has absolutely nothing to do with making money. When you build a strong, resilient identity as a man, when you know exactly who you are, regardless of what the bank account says, the business loosens the grip on you. You can finally step back and breathe and lead with clarity rather than panic. But knowing that you need to separate yourself from the business is only half the job. The other half is building the structure that allows you to actually do it. You can't just decide to have better boundaries. We have to be able to engineer these. In episode 3, we're moving from mindset to mechanics. I'm going to introduce you to the 5 mission pillars, the exact architecture that you need to stop working harder and start living better. If you are ready to stop giving your family the leftovers, make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss episode 3. And if you want to fast track this process and start reclaiming your identity, like right now, just click the link directly below and book in a call with us. We're not going to sell you on that call. We're going to learn about you, what's going on in that business, what's going on in your life, and we're going to give you constructive feedback to be able to go away and action. And if that works out and it's a good fit, then we might be able to do some work together. I'll see you in episode 3. Stop the hustle, start the living.